Ah, good evening, darlings, and the warmest of welcomes to Saturday Night Live. And it is nothing less than a sheer orgasmic joy to be here with you all as we wave goodbye to Saturday and we welcome in Sunday, don't we? Yes, of course we do. Now then, don't forget to go to church. There's good people. How has your day been, my lovelies? I've had a fantabulous day. I might tell you about it, but I would love to hear about your days. Obviously, I'm keen as mustard to know what you've been eating, and we need to know if there are any community snacks, don't we? Still the best feature I've ever come up with. And and tonight I'm wearing. Check out the socks. Oh, can you see down there? Hang on, let me hop along. Ugh, God, I'm not as young and athletic as I used to be. Now then, let's dive straight into your comments, shall we? Who have we got with us this evening? Well, the first cab off the rank is Stratospherian, who says good evening, Boaty and all. The fabulous Peter P. Also wishes a very good evening to me and all of you pufflings. Jimmy Quinn is with us. Oh, Jimmy, I've just noticed that you're back to being Jimmy Quinn. You're not Jimmy Mighty Quinn anymore. Oh, you've lost your mightiness, dear boy. Anyway, Jimmy's with us and says good evening, Boaty, and all. And Sean is here. Blimey, you're up late, Sean. I can't sleep, says Sean, for worrying about where the telephone is going to live. Top, middle, or bottom. Open brackets, on the floor, close brackets. Sean and I had a good old chat this afternoon. We were on the old blower for over an hour, and I gave him some helpful and useful advice into how to improve his videos and his thumbnails and how to get more views. Hang on, no, that's wrong. He gave me lots of helpful advice about how to. That was it. Yes. Oh dear. Lord Stiff Upper Lip is with us. Oh God, we got some more lyrics. I don't know this one. So I can't sing this, Lord Stiff Upper Lip. I don't recognise these lyrics. Bird of prey, flying high up in the summer sky. Gently pass on by. Take me on your flight, bird of prey, flying high. I'm not sure how that would work because, presuming you're a human, I'm not sure how a bird of prey is going to carry you, quite honestly, unless you were a very small toddler, in which case I suppose that one of the larger birds could possibly pick you up and carry you off. But then if you're a toddler, I doubt that you're writing hit records or indeed performing them. There's probably some sort of law against that sort of thing. Boaty asks, Jimmy, how was work? Work was fine, uneventful, not too quiet, not stupidly busy, just a nice, normal Saturday night service. We had enough staff. I quite enjoy Saturdays because I get to catch up with obviously we're more heavily staffed on a Friday and especially a Saturday. And it means I get to catch up with people that I only see once a week or sometimes even less than that. So that's always a nice thing. But yeah, it's been fine. And did I order the phone lock? Jimmy, I ordered it the same night. I didn't hang about, mate. I ordered it immediately after the live stream. So that is going to be very shortly, if it's not already, winging its way to Windy Bum. Matron is with us, evening all, and I have got to the point where the chat kind of started a bit. So I'm going to take that as a cue that I should have a little sample of my lovely wine here. So cheers to you all, your very good health, up yours, bottoms up, and all of that. Go on, wine, do your thing. And I shall artfully cover up my impending winegasm, which is starting to happen now, by showing you this. Sneak preview, darlings. Oh, I did put it in the Facebook group. Look at that. And I've got 3 of them. Isn't that fantastic? Denby, Potter's Wheel pattern, early 1970s with the green accent band. 3 of them. These go for anywhere between, like, depending on condition and exact type, they go for anywhere between sort of 20, 25 quid each on eBay. I got 3 for £7. I concealed that wine burp, didn't I? You didn't spot that. Be honest. I slipped that one past you, as the bishop said to the actress. Yeah, I got 3 for £7 off Facebook Marketplace. I didn't even haggle with the nice lady because obviously such a bargain, and they're going to go beautifully in the front parlour. I've already banged a couple on the old cabinets to see how they look, and they look quite simply superb. Or, well, actually, they look a bit weird when they haven't got a plant in them. You know, they're just an empty pot on a cupboard. But they are going to look sensational when they are with plant, and they will be with plant very soon, darlings. When I can get my bum down to a supermarket so I can shoplift some. Sorry, I'm getting a secondary wave in the old bread basket here. Oh dear me. Oh, that wine is. I can't talk about those sort of things. I should be more careful what I talk about on live streams. I was about to say that I've had sex that was less enjoyable than that, but actually, I'm not sure if that's true. Oh, yes, it is. Sorry. I've just remembered Mandy. Anyway, let's not go there. And I wish I hadn't. Where was I? Now then, I've completely lost track of what I was talking about. Oh, yeah. The only one I'm not 100% sure on yet is the 3rd one on the telephone table. It's the old telephone table dilemma again, isn't it? Now, I can tell you that there are 2 new items on the telephone table, and I am utterly delighted by both of them. But I'm not going to tell you what they are because there will be a video coming out tomorrow, darlings, and I don't want to spoil the surprise for you. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. They look the potty Denby things. I love Denby. I absolutely love Denby. And of course, it's so local to here. Yeah, I'm not sure about the potty thing on the telephone table. I think it probably will work, but or am I just building up some suspense to try and blag you into watching another video and getting invested in the placement of doings? What I am loving, without a shadow of a doubt, is the the additional ambient lighting in the front parlour. 2 new lamps in there, darlings, on the opposite side of the room to where there were lamps before. And it's making all the difference in the world. The parlour is a lovely place now. Oh, and I'll give you a sneak preview into another bit of tomorrow's video. Out in my garden, there are, and have been for the last 9 years, 2 poes. And I mean pots, of course. I'm just being silly in pronouncing it a po, as in a gazunder. Do any of you old enough to remember what a gazunder is? Let me know in the comments if you know what a gazunder is, or if you've ever lived in a house where there was one. A gazunder. Now, the cottage in Wales used to only have the outside lavatory. Now, in the middle of winter, and there's only an outside lavatory, that's when you need a gazunder, innit? What was I talking about then? I'm completely losing the plot. Oh, yeah, right now. In the garden for the last 9 years, there is a pot. Well, there are two pots actually. But there's one really nice, really heavy, looks quite an expensive pot. A big, thick ceramic job. And obviously, at some point, it's got a plant pot in it, but there's only weeds in it. There isn't a plant anymore. There must have been at one time. And that has sat out there in the garden for 9 years. And when I was filming today, I stepped outside for a cigarette break. And I suddenly looked at that pot and thought, that's going to waste out there. And it's beautiful shades of green. That would look really good in the front parlour. And I thought, why don't I clean that pot up, take it into the front parlour, and it's a big pot. It's a pot like that. You'll see it in the video tomorrow. And so I could get one of those big floor standing plants, couldn't I? I thought, yeah, I could do that. So I finished my cigarette and I whizzed into the front parlour, I did. And I looked around and I thought, is there anywhere where that pot could feasibly go and look nice? And I think I found a place, darlings. Now, imagine the front parlour. Then if you're looking at the wall with the booze stand on it, then you've got the booze stand there, you've got the settee here, and then you've got the armchair at a jaunty angle. And in between the armchair and the wine table, and the booze stand, there's a gap. There's like a triangular gap, and it just looks like a gap. It doesn't look particularly nice. You can see the plug socket. I reckon, I haven't tried it yet, but I reckon the big garden pot will go nicely in there, and then I can get one of those big floor standing proper big planty things. It's going to be like the botanical gardens in the community parlour, darling, honestly. Now, obviously, it's going to be more difficult to shoplift something of that size, but where there's a willy, there's a way. That's what I always say. Now then, Matron is here and says, good evening all. Mark Passad is here, wishing everybody a good evening. Chaz Brown is here. Hello, Boaty Squire. Hi, Chaz. How you doing? And the M11 is here. Good evening, Boggs. And the Denby King of Chesterfield. How are we all? Good Saturdays? Sending love. Oh, the M11 sending you all love. And you know what love is? That's not love. Is the kind of love that that used to be feature in the the opening theme of Shaft. You know, when somebody says love, then they're not talking about familial love or brother and sister love or parent and child love. They're talking about the physical act of love. And so that's what Emma is sending you all. She's sending you all virtually, admittedly, but nonetheless, she's sending you all effectively the physical act of love. Oh, yes. God, that's just made me think of Mr. Stephen Parry of Port Sunlight on the Wirral. The Love Peninsula. Oh, right. We've got some food news from Mark. I made a chicken, spinach, and tomato curry. All who ate it said they enjoyed it. I'm sure they did. I'm sure it was wonderful, Mark. Sean has got some food news. I just made a toast, and it shot out of the toaster so fast it landed in the it landed in the bin. Oh dear. Skick is here. Hello, Skick. Good evening, sir. And I love Skick's questions, and he's got one for me. If you could choose any past prime minister, alive or dead, to sort out all of the issues our country has today, who would you choose? Easy, Margaret Thatcher. In a heartbeat, no hesitation. Absolutely, that would be the one. That would be the one, darlings. Arguably controversial. A lot of people didn't like her, don't like her, but I thought she was a splendid woman. Plenty of spunk. Oh, and I mean that in the old-fashioned way, I didn't mean, you know what I mean. I wasn't talking about doings. Yeah, splendid filly. She had plenty of go in her. I like a woman who has a bit of go in her. Marvelous. So that was one question asked and easily answered. I can't even think of a competitor. I can't think. If I couldn't choose Mrs. T, can't think of anybody else. Um, no, I can't think of anybody else. If I had to have a second choice, I'd bring Bozza back just for a laugh. Or if I could have a fantasy prime minister, I'd have Donald Trump. Just because I would like to be part of the third series of Faulty Towers. Uh, am I correct in that you Brits, asks Peter P, don't take your shoes off indoors? Some do, some do. I don't, but some do. And, depends how you define Brits, because we've got a lot of British Asians now. Very welcome they are too. And yeah, now, Chinese madam was appalled that I trampled around the house in my outdoor shoes. And she insisted that I cease the practice immediately. And I should have, and she told me off, she scolded me for not having bought her a pair of slippers. Because that's what you do, apparently. Not just the Chinese, all the Nepalese guys do it as well. And yeah, you take your shoes off at the door and you put your house slippers on. Some people even have separate slippers for upstairs. Me? No, I just tramp all over the shop in my dirty shoes. It's me that mops the floor once every 3 years, whether it needs it or not. It's me that hoovers the carpets. So, yeah. So, is it a Scandinavian thing as well that you take your shoes off? I mean, I suppose it makes sense. I suppose. You buy expensive carpets or whatever, you probably shouldn't trample all over them in your big shoes. But I can't be asked. Oh, that's just reminded me of something. Oh my God. This was probably the most uncomfortable afternoon I've ever spent. Now then, the artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty, Maggie, my ex-wife, she had family or friends, or family and friends, in Yorkshire near Leeds, somewhere, in a place called, I can't remember. I can't remember what the place was called. If you showed me a map, I could tell you where it was. And we used to go and visit them periodically. How can I put this? They were a very down to earth family. Can I put it that way? I know that they took us out to lunch once, and I thought, right, I'm being taken out to lunch, so make a little bit of an effort. So I wore a cravat. I have a thing for cravats, darlings. I really do. So I wore my cravat and a nice shirt and a nice waistcoat, and we got taken to this dive of a bloody place. The thing I can remember about it was that I asked for a glass of God, this was a big mistake. I asked for a dry white wine, and they kind of looked at me, gone out, as I believe the saying is, because this place it was like a carvery place, not a chain, but like an independent pub that did a carvery on a Sunday. But it was a bit, yeah, it was a bit down to earth, and I don't think they'd ever seen anybody in a cravat before, and I don't think they'd ever had anybody ask for wine before. Um, most of the clientele were drinking ale and nibbling on bales of hay or straw. But yeah, I remember they came up with a bottle of rather palatable white wine, and what I think they did, because I said, in fact, I know what they did. I said just something basic like a Pinot Grigio, something like that, and they went sort of, "Hang on, love." And what they must have done is they must have sent somebody out the back to run to a supermarket or grocery shop or whatever it was, next door or opposite or something, buy a bottle of wine. And they presented me with this bottle of wine. And and she said, "How much would it?" £4.50. That'll be £4.50, please, love. Oh, well, all right, I'll take that. Oh God, I'll take that. The concept of profit. I think they were in such shock that somebody had asked for wine. But the point was that after the meal, we went back to their house. Now, from what I could understand, the husband was retired, and I think they made their living as fences. I think all of the local thieves brought them their stuff, and I think they fenced it. 'Cause I remember they had this enormous commercial microwave in their kitchen, like a massive commercial one, like the one we've got in our kitchen. It's about 15,000 watts. It'll boil water in 10 seconds, and it's on it's in this bloody council house in I still can't remember the name of the town. I will remember it. And it's taken up like half the counter. And I kind of said, "That's a hell of a microwave." And they said, "Yeah, ours bust the other week." So somebody broke into the local Chinese takeaway. So, so they've got the commercial microwave out of the local Chinese takeaway. But the point was, and the reason why I'm telling you all of this is they were a family who took their shoes off at the door. And because we were guests, God, I can remember this. Because we were guests, we were treated with some honor. And we took our shoes off as we were instructed to do. And the wife, who was the real matriarch, she was the ruler of the house. There's no doubt about it. The wife said, "Jack, give him your slippers." And I'm saying, no, it's all right, honestly. "Give him your slippers. You put them on, love. They'll be right comfy." I had to put on somebody else's manky old slippers. God. Oh, God, I've never felt so uncomfortable in all of my life. Sitting there in somebody's front parlour with somebody else's manky slippers on. God. With my cravat. Oh, dear. Halcyon days, darlings. Halcyon days. Everybody's saying hello to Skick. And Skick would go for either Churchill or Thatcher. Well, I wouldn't go for Churchill, Skick, because the man was a raving alcoholic. And once you took him out of a war situation, then he drank even more. But actually, That wouldn't be a bad second choice after Mrs. T. I don't know a great deal about Churchill. All I know is that he suffered with depression very badly. I know that it was he who came up with the expression for depression that is my favourite, the black dog. He talked about the black dog visiting. And I know that he was a raving alcoholic who started every day with a bottle of champagne, which is nice to do on your birthday and Christmas Day, but every day might be a bit much. Note, says Sean in capital letters, so he must mean it. I had an email this evening to say you need to sign for the parcel when it arrives on Sunday. Very good, sir. I'm in all day until I go to work. I tend not to venture far from the cottage, if at all, on a Sunday. And tomorrow will be no exception. I shall get up, I shall have coffee, I shall scratch various parts of my body. I will edit the video and upload it, hopefully. And I will make a poverty version of a Sunday lunch. But it'll be made with the fresh beans from Ram's garden. Oh, looking forward to that. That'll add a touch of style and panache to my Sunday lunch, darlings. So as long as it arrives before I leave for work, Sean, that shouldn't be a problem. And I'm looking forward to receiving whatever it is. That curry sounds really nice, Mark, says the M11. Matron is describing the plant pot as an egg cup for an ostrich egg. Flobber-dobber-dob. What a pot, says Peter P. In a warm tribute to Bill and Ben, the flower pot men. The M11 says, I always take my shoes off indoor, Peter P. You bloody don't. You never did here. And the song lyrics were Bird of Prey by Jim Morrison, The Doors. There we are. Mark Passadi, they take their shoes off down their way. Don't mention Mandy, anybody, says Chaz Brown. Or Momo, says Skick. Was Mandy the Liverpool lass, asked the M11? I can't remember her name. You know that. I don't know if I've forgotten it or if I just never knew it. It was quite late at night, that encounter. Peter P says, Emma and Mark, it's good to hear that. My observations are partly based on Emmerdale and Boaty. God. What view of the universe would you have if it was based on Emmerdale Farm and me? God above. Now then, Mr. Wilkes. To my shame, I watched the odd episode of Emmerdale Farm many, many years ago. HW100 or HW100 or HW100 is with us and says, hello, Boaty and all. Matron says, I found out some gossip about the Mandy I know the other day. Filth. Didn't realise she'd been there. Ugh. God knows why. Oh. Peter P says, choose any Prime Minister alive or dead to podger. PM WAP. God. Oh, a PM that you'd podger. Lord above. Oh, God. Well, I mean, for us chaps, we've got a smaller pool to draw from. Lord above. I suppose what's her name might be a laugh. What was her name? You know, the one who lasted 5 days, not as long as a lettuce. What was her name? I've forgotten her bloody name. Who was it? It was Cameron. What's her name? Johnson, and then the other what's her name, and then Sunak. Oh God, what was her name? Liz Truss. That's right, Liz Truss. Who was the other one? Who was the lady before her? Oh, bugger if I can remember. It's too late at night to be remembering names. It's midnight, darlings. Oh, and that's it. Midnight. Goodbye Saturday, welcome Sunday. And as I say, don't forget to go to church or chapel or temple or or mosque or, insert your religious place of choice. I can see her face. The previous Prime Minister, Theresa May. Of course it was Theresa May. Oh, there you go. So, gentlemen, if you need to find a Prime Minister who's up for a pottering, Theresa May. Do you see what I did there? Oh, God. It's a laugh an hour with Boaty. We need to rename Boaty's Daily Diary to Boaty's Parlour, says Chaz Brown. Well, I've stopped using the Boaty's Daily Diary thing, if you've noticed. That's part of the progression to try and get more than 100 views on a video. That is my aim in life. Oh, excuse me. Bad Books is with us and says good evening. Oh, good evening to you. Oh, excuse me. Oh my God, I'm falling apart. Why do you say front parlour? Asks Lord Stiff Upper Lip. Don't you milk your cows in them? We have front rooms and a drawing room. Oh, get you all posh. Well, I don't know. It's just the front parlour, isn't it? It's the parlour at the front of the house in the east wing or west, one of the wings. I don't know. I've just always called it the front parlour. I don't really know what a drawing room is, if I'm totally honest. I hate the word lounge. That applies to airports. I don't want to call it a living room because it's well, I don't live in it. I'm hardly ever in the place, although I have been living in there over the last few days, haven't I? I don't know. What would you have called it? What would you have called it, Lord Stiff Upper Lip, or anybody else who wants to vouchsafe an opinion? What would you have called it? I just thought that it was. Well, I thought it was a parlour. Certainly because of the way that I use it, or rather don't use it, it kind of takes on the aspect of a parlour, and it's at the front. So there you go. Don't know really. The M11 says Monstera stroke cheese plant would work well for your big pot. Easy to keep alive, and they grow massive. Always best to start with smaller plants to give them a chance to grow. Okay, I'll actually screenshot that so I remember that. Skick says, today I travelled back from Sleaford, 4-hour journey to visit the dentist because I couldn't get an appointment where I'm living. Disgusting. Well, at least you got to see a dentist, Skick. I dream of seeing a dentist. You try getting an NHS dentist, bloody hell. Otherwise, goes on the M11, your plants will outgrow your parlour really quickly. Well, I will take your advice. I will get a small monster or a cheesecake. Simone is here, hooked on classics. Hiya, sorry I'm late. I was watching Cortina City and he gave me a shout out. Boaty, says Jimmy Quinn, now you want a TV, what plays DVDs? Do I? Do I really? I mean, I have got a shed load of DVDs, some of which I'm very, very fond of. Like I've got the box set of The Sopranos. I've got some really good box sets and some really good DVDs. And very occasionally, I think, yeah, I would like to watch that. Like the Beiderbecke trilogy. I've got that. But I did have and I've got a DVD player, actually. I've still got the DVD player. I didn't sell that. I sold the televisual when I decided to get rid of it. But I don't know. Would I like one? if I had loads and loads of room or loads and loads of rooms, then maybe. But if I had a televisual now to watch DVDs, where would I put it? My favourite place that I've ever had a televisual with a DVD was in the cottage in Wales, and I had it on top of the fridge freezer. Bizarrely enough. And it was quite a low fridge freezer. It wasn't like a massive full size one like that. And that was great because then when I was pottering about the kitchen in the Welsh cottage, I could watch my DVDs. But I don't know where I'd put one now. No, I don't know. I don't know. I used to have a TV player that played DVDs in the guest cupboard. Um, that went the way of all good things when Chinese Madam moved in. I mean, I suppose I wouldn't mind if I was going to have one. It'd be one of those little 17-inch or whatever size it is, small ones, kind of flat screen TVs with an inbuilt DVD player. So you could just, mind you can wall mount them these days, can't you? So a little one of those somewhere, but I don't know where. Um, no, don't know. Don't know. I've just grown to live without them, not think about them. Now, in the bedroom of the Welsh cottage, um, I had a 42-inch Sony job in the bedroom, and I used to love falling asleep to a DVD in there whilst luxuriating in my four-poster bed and looking to my left in the full-length windows all along the bedroom that looked out over the valley to Treherbert Mountain. And that used to be wonderful. I used to feel most awfully decadent. But of course, in those days, I would lounge around in bed. And these days, I don't. I stagger upstairs at God knows what time in the morning, get into bed, fall immediately asleep, wake up and think, I need a wee and I need a coffee and I need a cigarette and I need to get this video edited. So, I might sleep for 6 hours or 7 hours or whatever it is, but there are no luxuriating times at either side. Now, obviously, um, in the dim and distant past, before I became very single indeed, then there would be a bit of lingering time in bed at various times during the day. But of course, I would have company for that. Anyway, there we are. There we are. Oh, Sophie is here. Hi, sorry we're not in. We have friends staying over, but we hope everyone is okay and have had a good day. Oh, Sophie, it's lovely of you to come in and say hello. And much love to you and Neil. Oh, dear. Maggie would put Starmer in his place, says Simone. Exactly, Boaty, says Carl Burton. Best of a bad bunch. Talking about Mrs. T there. Oh, and here's Mr. Stephen Parry. How are you, Jason, tonight? And Emma and Tracy and everyone in the chat. I had a lovely day today. I'm glad about that. Jimmy Quinn says, me too, Margaret Thatcher or Winston Churchill. And Mr. Paddy goes on. Once home, I always put my slippers on and take shoes off to keep my carpet and laminated flooring clean. Now, right. So I don't always wear outdoor shoes. So now, admittedly, I've got my shoes on at the moment. This is my routine, darlings. When I finish the live stream, I go upstairs, I get a quick shower, I change into my nightwear and I put my slippers on. Then I come back downstairs, make my supper, have a quick look on YouTube, do whatever I'm going to do, drink some wine. And then when I get up in the morning, then as soon as I get up, I get dressed. I don't have a shower in the morning, darlings, because there doesn't really seem to be any point. Oh, unless it's a Monday and I'm going out somewhere. I have a shower in the afternoon before I go to work, and I have a shower at night after the live stream. 99% of the time, I do miss the post live stream shower on the odd occasion, but 99% of the time I do. So when I get up in the morning, I do get dressed, but I don't put shoes on. I do put my slippers on. And if I'm having a cottage day, then I stay in my slippers until it's time for my shower and going to work. So I don't live in outdoor shoes, but I must admit I haven't got the thing where you stop at the door and religiously take off your shoes and put your slippers on. I can't be asked with that, to be honest. Too much like faff. And what about when you're doing stuff with the cars or something, and I'm coming in and out to get tools, or I'm valeting a car and I'm coming in and out for equipment? Do you take your shoes off and put your slippers on every time you just nip into the house for 30 seconds? Bugger that. Life is too short. How many years do you think Will get? Hashtag the Archers, says Sean. Right. Okay. Right. When you say Will, I'm assuming that you mean George, because it's George that was grassed up to the Rosses by his mum, Emma. And for those of you who aren't aware, then George, of course, was actually driving the car that Alice was being accused of drunk driving. And how many years do I think he'll get? I don't think he'll get any years. I don't think he'll get a custodial sentence, would be the honest answer to that, because I'm trying to remember now. He wasn't over the limit when he drove, was he? And the accident wasn't his fault. The accident was Alice's fault because she was pissed as a newt and trying to jump out of a moving car. And George was just trying to keep her safe. So, and even if he was over the limit, then there'd be no way of proving that now, would there? So I don't see exactly what he's really guilty of. Well, I mean, technically, he didn't leave the scene of an accident. I don't know if he was driving Alice's car illegally. I don't know if he didn't have, if he wasn't properly insured or whatever. So realistically, what has he done that's so terribly wrong? The only thing that he's really done is perverted the course of justice, I suppose, hasn't he? Because he's let somebody else take the blame. But there are so many mitigating factors that, and I think he should have given himself up ages ago, because the mitigating factors are going to be extreme, aren't they? Mitigating factor number one. Oh, sorry, if you don't listen to the Archers, then you're going to be very bored at this point. But sorry, the Archers are part of my life. And, clues in the channel name, Boaty's World. Start listening to the Archers, you people. Then we can talk about it. It can be right, we've now got an official community soap opera, and it's the Archers. You, as valuable and valued members of my inner scrotum, you are now under a moral imperative to listen to the Archers, whether you like it or not. It's only about 12 minutes a day, darlings, and you get Saturdays off. It's only 6 days a week, even less than that in the pandemic. So start listening to it and make sure that you do, because I will ask you all questions about it. So, yeah, the mitigating factors. Mitigating factor number one, the accident wasn't his fault. It was Alice being a drunken nose. Mitigating factor number two, having been involved in the accident, he rescued everybody and saved their lives. So, yeah, he's perverted the course of justice or whatever, maybe left the scene of an accident, although he didn't technically leave the scene. So I can't see he's going to get a custodial sentence at all, especially as the bloody jails are full to overflowing. In fact, if he gets a custodial sentence, I will nail myself to something in protest. They're going to build it up into this huge thing, and I bet you he gets. What's he going to get? I mean, it's a shame he didn't give himself up, and then he'd have got credit for that. He'll get community service, quite a lot of community service, something like that. I don't reckon he's going to get banged up. He's only young as well, and he hasn't got a criminal record, has he? So there you go. If any of you know anything about the Archers or what I'm talking about, then what's your opinion? How many years do you think George is going to get? Right. Where did it get to? Oh, I got to there, didn't I? Jimmy says, Boaty, the pub was so bad the women had wooden teeth. Well, they'd be one step ahead of me now, wouldn't they? When I visited that pub, I had all of my teeth, but it'd be a different thing now. Oh, maybe I should go back there. Maybe I could get some wooden teeth. Not ideal, but you take what you can get. Oh, and Mr. Parry is very kindly asking everybody to have a fumble at the old like button to help me out, and I would be very grateful. The last pub I went to in Leeds, says Bad Books, there was that much broken glass in the lounge. The Alsatian wore sandals. Oh, God. I wish I could remember. Dewsbury. Yeah, Dewsbury. It was about junction 40 or something off the M1. Dewsbury. That was it. And ironically, I went through there after the divorce when I picked up my Ford Street KA. Dewsbury, that was it. My God, how could I forget that? How could I forget that? Great story, Boaty, says Peter P. I pay for the carpet in our house, says Bad Book, so it's shoes off at the door. Quality story, says Skick. Hello, angry faces, says Mustard. He helped to save us from the Nazis, Boat, says Skick, about Churchill. Well, yes, he did. I didn't take my shoes off at Boaty, says the M11, because he told me I didn't need to. I always ask when arriving at people's homes, but in my own house, shoes come off at the door. Oh, well, there we are. Matron says, I get shoeless ASAP when indoors. Ask Neil and Sophie. My shoes were even off in the Premier Inn pub thingy bob. Blimey. The lettuce one. Whoa, says Peter P. Theresa May for Boaty, says Chaz Brown. For FFS, says the M11. I was literally typing out that Theresa May pun and was about to press send when Boaty did it. Sorry, love. Emma says it's not the first time he's nicked your material. Sean says sitting room, lounge, parlour, front room, drawing room, morning room, reception room, salon, family room, TV room, common room, laying out room. What the bloody hell's a laying out room? That's a morgue, isn't it? Laying somebody out is when you is when you sort them out after they've snuffed it, or it is in my parlance anyway. I mean, I grew up with, what did we have when I was growing up? Well, at my parents' house we had a living room. At my grandparents' house we had a front room. It's interesting. I hadn't thought about that before, but from day one, I've always thought of and referred to that room as the front parlour. It's never been anything else for me. Never occurred to me that it could be anything else. I say living room, says the M11, but you don't spend much time in the parlour, so you couldn't call it that. I also have a front room, but that's the playroom here. I like that you call it front parlour because it sounds both posh, pretentious, and eccentric, just like you, Master Boaty. That's me. You heard it here first, darlings. Posh, pretentious, and eccentric, and I will plead guilty to all of those and hope I don't get a sentence as bad as young George. Oh, seriously, I will protest if he goes to prison. He doesn't deserve to go to prison. It would be an awfully mean judge who sent him down for that. Keep physical copies, says Carl. Oh, my friend is back. My friend is back. Hello. Hello. How you doing? Nice to see you. If you want to co-host, pop up here. Carl was about to say something. What was he about to say? Ah, yeah. Keep physical copies if you don't want them revised to the modern audience. Oh, right. You're talking about DVDs. Blimey, Sean, says the M11. How many rooms have you bloody got? Oh, dear. Oh, well, this is interesting. I thought you were being very rude there, Skick, and I was about to tell you off. But Skick says, after watching your friend Sean's videos, I'm going to give you my opinion. And I kind of steeled myself. I watched 2 or 3, Skick goes on, and I thought, this guy is one boring so-and-so. But then going into them further, I was hooked. And the M11 says Sean is the human form of MSG. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. I would not watch anybody else unpack their bloody shopping. No, I mean it's ridiculous, and I would hesitate at inflicting that on you. But if Sean puts a video up and he said, right, for the next 40 minutes, I'm just going to unpack my shopping, I would watch every minute of it. And I can't explain why. It's why our phone calls are always so long as well. God, I mean, you can't stop watching his videos. You certainly can't hang up the phone. I was almost late for work tonight. We were chatting away, putting the world to rights between us. And I suddenly just happened to glance at the clock, and I should have left 2 minutes ago. Well, I'm glad you're converted, Skick. I'm glad you're converted. Mr. Paddy has got a 50-inch 3D TV in the bedroom and a 55-inch 4K TV in the cinema room. Oh, the cinema room. Blimey. Oh, and Skick has got more to say. The reason is he fits perfectly the content he puts out. Plus, some of the videos also have an ASMR content. Yeah, I still don't understand what that is. It's not raining in Norwich, apparently. It's a bit like a song and the perfect singer for it, and others try and fail. That's a lovely way of putting it, actually, Skick. And the M11 says that's a bit poetic, Skick. It is. And yeah. Oh, well, I'm glad that, I'm glad that you were quickly converted. I love Sean's videos. It doesn't matter what he puts up. I just really enjoy them. And the nice thing is that if you were ever fortunate enough to to encounter him in a real life scenario, whether it was in person or on the phone. He's just a lovely, lovely, warm, funny, down to earth, lovely guy, generous, really funny. He's got a lot more cutting wit than might be apparent on camera. He's funny on camera. Apparently, he was telling me today that he's been asked on several occasions if somebody writes his jokes for him. But he's a genuinely properly funny guy. He has me laughing out loud. And he's very genuine, very down to earth, certainly very kind, and really, really good company. You know, some people who are, you know, whatever, celebrities or whatever, and you meet them in real life and you see the real them and not the performance, and they can disappoint. Whereas others, I mean, you know the people that well, I mean, you know, Edmonds, obviously, Mansell, but others that you encounter are just utterly delightful. The best example of which is Tony Iommi, the lead guitarist with Black Sabbath, friend of mine, and he's just so nice, so nice. Trying to think who else. Jasper Carrot, hilarious on stage, miserable bastard. I mean, I liked him. Again, we were kind of friends, as you know. I sold him cars, and I sold his Ferrari for him, and all of that sort of thing. But you know what I mean? Some people it's an act, and some people it's they're just genuine people, and Sean's one of the genuine people. I hope I am as well. I hope that those of you who've met me don't think, God, what an unpleasant and boring man. Nothing like he portrays himself on the videos. Well, there we are. George, says Mark Prasad, will get enough months so he can do Panto and be back in February 2025. I can't read that out, Jimmy Quinn. I can't read that out. But Matron says it's a top tier premium service. Oh, dear. Oh, God. Oh, Spider has entered the parlour. He did indeed, Chaz, and he is still there. Oh, he's frozen again. Oh, don't be frightened, mate. Come on. He doesn't like being stroked. I stroked him the other night and he didn't like it at all. I'm going to bed now. Work in the morning, says Simone. Sleep tight, my lovely. Thank you for joining us. Matron says, I'm still squealing with laughter here, Jimmy. You're just very naughty tonight. I shall have to find my spatula. And I'm being damned with faint praise here. Skick says, I enjoy some of your videos, Boat. I'll take that. I'm the first to admit that in the quest for just getting content out there, I've put some real shit out there. I'm the first to admit it. But I think I've made some decent ones as well. In fact, I'm going to change my featured video. And because when you can manipulate your YouTube homepage, and you can pick a video that will be featured for non-subscribers when they look at your homepage, and you can pick another one that will be featured for existing subscribers when they look at your homepage. And I'm going to change it, and I'm going to change it back to the video, both of them, the existing sub and non-sub. I'm going to change both videos back to the one that I think is the best video that I've ever made, and that is revisiting my homeland number 2, Talacra. I I reckon that is the best video I've made so far. Uh, and it's not the most viewed, it's not the one that's made the most money, not by a long chalk. Neither is it the one that's got the most likes, but I think it's the best one I've done. So there you go. I'm going to have that as my featured one. I will do better in due course, darlings. I'm a work in progress, as we all are in many things. And got to remember, I'm still kind of quite new to this YouTube thing. Lots of contemporaries, they've been doing it for 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, 13 years, 14 years. I've still only been doing it for a couple of years. And I've only been taking it seriously for about 18 months. And I started from a point of knowing nothing about anything. So I'm very much a work in progress. So yeah, a lot of my stuff is really awful. Probably still is. But I think it's maybe improving a little bit, maybe. Di Owen says, we had a front parlour, living room, and a back kitchen. Oh, well, there we are, you see. There you are. Oh, okay. Hang on. Did you know Elvis? No, obviously not. Tony Iommi is a treasure, says Carl Burton, unlike Ozzy. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Tony's lovely. Do you know what? Some people, some people are nicer than they need to be. Do you know what I mean by that? Some people are just nicer than they need to be. And I've met lots of people like that in my life, not just celebrities, normal people as well. Mustard is nicer than he needs to be. Emma is nice. Well, actually, all of you lot, all of you lot here are kind of, you're nicer than you need to be. And that's a wonderful thing. In terms of celebrities, Chris Eubank was a lot nicer than he needed to be. And yeah, Tony Iommi, he's very much like that. I knew him, or I got to know him, because he lived locally to the car dealership. He lived on a kind of millionaire's road, Baker's Lane in Knoll. So you've got three massive properties kind of next to each other, but they've all got loads of land. And so you've got Jasper Cadder, his best mate that he went to school with, Bev Bevan, who was the drummer with ELO. And then you've got Tony Iommi from the Sabbath. And I was already dealing with Jasper, Bob. His name's Bob. That's a thing. Some people don't like being called by their stage names, you know. And Jasper's real name is Bob. And I was already dealing with Bob and Bev, you know, supplying them cars, whatnot. And so then when so Tony kind of came along as well. The first car I sold him was a Mercedes. It wasn't for him. It was for his new girlfriend, a Swedish blonde thing. Oh my God, she was. I'm not. I'm not normally into blondes, but this one was. Whoa, what? I should cocoa. Yeah, and I sold it. He needed a car for her, so but it was only going to be a temporary thing. I can't remember why. And I sold him this Merc, not a flash Merc. It was a C class or something like that. And you know, I sold him a decent car at a decent price. And then when whatever the temporary need finished, I sold it for him and got him a decent price. And I've told the story before. He was just one of those guys that was nicer than he needed to be. Um, I've told you this story, but not all of you will have heard it, so I'll tell it again. It was my stepson's birthday. I'm at the car showroom. Tony rocks up with his blue glasses and his hair in his Range Rover. He drove a Range Rover because he's a sensible man, and a Range Rover is just the best car in the world. And you know, we were chatting about whatever we were chatting about, and I happened to say to him, uh, it's my stepson's birthday today, and he's a student. He's at I think he was in sixth form at the time, but I said he's in a band. You know, they just do covers locally, but they cover a couple of Sabbath songs, and he's a bit of a fan. Um, Next time you're over, is there any chance you could just give me a bit of merch and scribble a signature on it, just a picture or whatever? Uh, and you know, if you were just a normal, nice enough guy, you'd say, "Yeah, sure, I'll drop you something in," and you'd drop something in the next time, or you'd get one of your people to post it. But he said, "It's his birthday today." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Has he got a mobile phone?" I said, "Of course he has. They've all got bloody mobile phones now, haven't they?" He said, "Ring him. I'll have a chat with him." And so I did. I rang James and shoved Tony on, and he had a good old chat with him. And I just thought, what a lovely thing to do. And that's an example of somebody being nicer than they needed to be. The other great example is Chris Eubank. Again, I've told you before 1,000 times. But when I met him at it was the holiday in Glasgow, because I was filming for Leslie Mitchell Associates up in Glasgow, and they put me up at the Holiday Inn, and Mr. Eubank happened to be staying there, and I was sitting at the bar with Donna. He walked past, and I said, "Oh, hello. Sorry to do this, but you know, I'm a big fan, and thank you. Good luck." Because he was world champion at that point. It's not after he retired or anything. He was a current world champion, and you know, and in under those circumstances, you're hoping for. That was in oh God, I think it was 1991. So it was before phone cameras and all of that. So you're not going to get a selfie or anything like that. You're just hoping for a hello, or you know, maybe if you're really lucky, a handshake, something like that. But no, he stopped, sat down, bought us a drink, and had a chat with us. Nicer than he needed to be. And that I love people who are nicer than they need to be. And Sean is exactly like that. Now then, God, it's time to go, darlings. Let's whiz through these comments and bugger off, shall we? Matron says, "I don't think any of my videos are good enough to be featured on my homepage yet, but I'm very happy with my recent edits. Work in progress, Matron, same as the rest of us." I enjoyed this evening, says Mark Prasad. Thank you, Boaty. Good night and good night, chat. Good night to you. Oh, and Skick says, "Yep, that's me. Nicer than I need to be." I put all of you watching this, or certainly, you know, the members of the inner scrotum, yeah, I would put you all in absolutely in that category. And that's why this community works so well, because you're all just nicer than you need to be. I'm not. I'm a miserable, bad-tempered, drunken old fart. But you lot are, and you lot are what drives the community. I'm just the fat bloke that that rocks up every night and annoys you. Oh God! I knew a swimmer called Bob. He had no arms or legs. Dear. Oh, Andrew Buttigieg has just rocked up. You get a shout out in tomorrow's video, mate. We're just saying good night, mate, but good evening to you. Hope you're well. Great Tony Iommi story from Birmingham, says Carl Burton. Indeed. Emma says, "I'm nicer than I need to be because of the experiences, I guess. A lot of people being wrong in lots of different ways shapes your future behaviours." I would agree with that. But equally, you can go one of two ways, can't you? You can either think it's a terrible world and people are awful, and you think the worst of everybody, and you give the worst of yourself, or you can think, I'm not, okay, this has happened, that's happened, but I'm going to be better, and I'm going to prove that kindness and decency and is still a worthwhile thing. Skik says Senna, Hamilton, Schumacher, Prost, all at their best today in the same car. Who would win? Oh, good question. It would be between Senna and Hamilton, and it would be close, too close to call. Wouldn't be Prost the professor in my book. Wouldn't be Schumi. Okay, I'm going to get technical about this before I bugger off. If it was, as you say, if it was they're at their best, but it's today in the same car, I'm going to say Hamilton, because if they're doing it today in the same car, then presumably it's going to be one of today's cars, and today's cars are going to be really very different to the car that Senna drove, and Hamilton is going to, Lewis is going to be more attuned to the cars of today than any of the others. So yeah, this will be controversial, but I'm going to say Lewis Hamilton would come out on top. Yep. Yes, says Emma. Yeah. Boaty really is a miserable, bad-tempered, drunken old fart. He's not joking. Night, night, all lovely live, says Peter P. And it's. Oh, sorry, Mr. B. Love you really. Adds Emma. Love you too. Okay. That's it, darlings. That's it. It's time to bugger off, isn't it? I've got curry to eat. You've got things to do. We've all got beds to go to. I've enjoyed tonight very much. Thank you all very much for it. And if you're minded to, then please join me tomorrow night. Earlier time, 11 o'clock, Sunday Night Live. There is a video coming out tomorrow. If you're interested in the community parlor, or no, I won't say too much. I won't say too much, but there is a video coming out tomorrow. Excuse me. So on that note, let me wish you all a safe and peaceful night. I hope you all have a lovely Sunday, and I hope you can take some joy somewhere from the day, anywhere and anyhow that you can. Take really good care of yourselves. Take care of those who you love or who love you. And hopefully I will see you in the comments on tomorrow's video, or tomorrow night, 11 o'clock, Sunday Night Live. Thank you so much for being with me. Catch you later. And on that note, Pachu and indeed, bosh.